In this episode, we are going to discuss how close we are, and I will tell you exactly how close we are. Don't worry, we are. Monica Long recently returned from a trip to Rio, and we were able to watch 3 incredible clips of her discussing Ripple expansion, XRP ETF, the price of Bitcoin at year's end, and a host of other topics. Without further ado, let's dive right in. How would you respond? Bitcoin 62,700 currently. It is roughly 0.5% down from the previous day's high of $3.48 for Ethereum and 37% down from the high of 99 cents for both USDT and USDC. Not good, is it bueno instead? 49 cents, XRP. Where will the market cap of 237 billion people for all cryptocurrency go? Do you now understand what I mean by a day, 1 or 2 days? There's an important historical moment involving Bitcoin that you should be aware of. We already informed you that Bitcoin was in a liquidity zone between 60 and 64. Since buyers are snatching up as much of this cryptocurrency as they can, does this imply that we won't crash? Furthermore, it does not imply that a crash is imminent. Maintaining this zone is critical. Should we proceed further, it is crucial to prevent a breakdown. I apologize for this. I'm observing a lot of people forecasting and preparing for Bitcoin's final dip before it soars. If we break through the $660,000 barrier, we may see Bitcoin retest the $48,000 to $552,000 region, and most likely it will. This region is crucial because it marks the beginning of the fund's bull cycle, which propelled us to all-time highs before the event. Paying close attention to whether we can maintain this $660,000 area, these markets will begin to move, and all coins will begin to push in May. For the time being, it's simply a matter of patience. We have been educating you about lateral movement for the past few weeks. That's the thing I want you to focus on. Report.com is an excellent crypto news resource. My site is already suffering from what we released this morning, but the pieces are still rolling in, people. Network, is it wiser to invest in Omni first? About Bitcoin, despite this, Omni's performance in the cryptocurrency market has fluctuated in comparison to larger market trends. Yet its technological presence in a Bitcoin network implies a symbolic tie between Bitcoin's performance and Omni's as Bitcoin gets ready for prospective investors, and Omni should take into account the potential impact of decreased Bitcoin mining payouts on security. The company has added layers to its blockchain-based strategy plan. Technical examination of law labels market sentiment and state diversification. When deciding whether to invest in Omni, investors should exercise caution. Pride of Bitcoin HING necessitates understanding its connection to the particulars of Bitcoin and the overall state of the market. Investors should use dual vigilance. Before making a choice, they should think about their own risk tolerance and perhaps speak with financial advisors. This is especially intriguing because of the strong correlation between Omni and performance, particularly among former Omni network employees. Are we observing that BSB Beam appears to be performing fairly well before the second half? A day later, it's down 42%, but this Omni price chart right here has seen a significant push-up and a significant come-down. As with everything else, we now have a correction. I wrote about this a few days ago. This was the purchase, folks, and I believe the price has dropped a little bit. We are currently in the $1,000 range. $103, release it at $109. This is a great buy. It will easily yield 5 to 8 times more returns with no issues. Folks, when Quant moves, it will push. Alert, Binance received a transfer of 16.27 Bitcoins from an anonymous wallet. Quant takes off. For Per, I wonder what this is. CZ Bank is preparing a few additional bucks for his SEC case since, as you may know, the more money you have, the less of a fragrance you will receive. According to the street rumors, who else do you suppose is pushing this? People, that's $1 billion that might blow up on market right now. Wasn't that 16,000? When Bitcoin sells off, I believe that people may wonder what the value of the largest currency will be by the end of the year. Monica Long, however, looks fantastic. She appears younger. I'll tell you that she appears revitalized and prepared to go. That big of a Bitcoin prize by the end of the year? Well, I'm not sure by then, but I believe it may. In my opinion, Bitcoin will surpass 100,000, but I do think it has the potential to surpass $1 million in the future. Whether this is true or not, I think it is a store of value because it will likely rank among the most significant status symbols of the digital economy in the future, making it a more significant place for all of us to invest in. The emphasis is on the asset's practical applications, which is what will provide the asset's long-term value, stability, and liquidity. However, I will say that, as far as Brazil is concerned, this is a tremendously fertile area for that kind of development. Your government has accepted virtual assets and provided clarification on them. Your developer community is quite active. Additionally, conventional banks are available to provide financing. Accepting it is necessary for it to serve as the ideal combination, or rather, the ideal breeding ground. Isn't it interesting that this is Ripple's president? Brazil is adopting digital technology. First Bank and Ripple are collaborating to use XRP in Brazil. Ripple is now closed. Have secret meetings with Brazil's central banks and observe what happens when your nation doesn't fight. Technology progresses when it applies new technologies, gains comprehension, and enacts restrictions. After that, we can have businesses like Ripple enter and genuinely assist and enhance them. She exclaims, crypto has just released this one, Zoom. Although Monica is in Rio, if we pan out, I find it fascinating that the longer Web3 is growing and maturing over time, and I think a lot of that. The most exciting thing about this most recent cycle, though, is that it's real. In this case, I believe institutional adoption is going to be very different. If you think about it, some of the biggest names in financial services, like Goldman, BlackRock, and Fidelity, actually built their products and offerings in bear markets, meaning they see the bigger picture at hand. The main aspect, as she just mentioned, is the institutional embrace. This is the year of institutional embrace and takeoff. What action did the institutions take? They are constructed throughout the open market. Indeed, as you can observe, they are well positioned and prepared for this situation. A bull run is defined as the amount of money they anticipate making. Come on, people, if you can construct in a bear market and weather it through a bull market, you have a legitimate business. A lot of these phony enterprises, when we say they closed during the market, we mean it. This is really, really big news. Given the integration of these systems, it's conceivable that Ripple could also trade at millions of dollars per day, similar to XRP ETFs. Institutional adoption gives you credibility, and regulators can no longer ignore it. In the instance of Hong Kong, you know that the majority of people wouldn't even mention the phrase web of millions, but the ones who don't truly win. You know what? If you heard that, it acknowledges that, for example, Ripple recognizes that it could very well be an ETF. I just detested when people say that Ripple, like XRP, is going to be an ETF, not Ripple. We all know what's coming. In the US, it has regulatory clarity. I honestly don't know why there is a holdup. This point is clear, we understand what it is, and it is not a security. Now that the Bitcoin border period has begun, it's time to invest in ETFs. We are currently investigating Bitcoin. He keeps it between 45 and 52 in case it breaks down. Folks, I'm roughly in the 485 to 52 range. Although our views on targets are fairly similar, this is precisely what we could be looking at. This would be the final descent before our departure. The trajectory is fully parabolic, and our destination is the moon. Alright, Bitcoin will reach 100,000 by this is going to happen at the end of the year. This will get angry fast. You need to organize your over-the-counter exchanges and secure a position. I'm applying for another one right now. I'm applying to Kraken's OTC. The desk has several access points, so be ready to step outside, decide when to leave, and settle into your position. So when it begins to move, if you find yourself stumbling over numbers, as quickly as it rises, it will inevitably descend, so if you don't know when to get out, you'll be stuck with this thing falling back down much quicker at a twofold rate, leaving you with little time to market the following product. You already know that you'll message me. In the unlikely event that there isn't another bull cycle, I will have to wait until 2028.